Hello everybody, it's the Audiophile Journeyman, sorry. Want to make another video. As you can see, my third video here in the series so far. And the room I'm in is still under construction. I'm not sure when they're coming back. They'll notify me, then I have to pack everything up. So I wanted to get this out before that occurs. I have two Nakamichi tape decks. You should see there in the picture. That's what's been added. I'm not going to play any music because of copyright laws and such stuff. I don't want to get in trouble with anybody. So I've owned the one on the bottom, the Nakamichi 582Z. I purchased it new back in 1981, and it still works, although it needs to be overhauled. So I don't use it to play back stuff anymore because it just doesn't hold up to its old potential. And the quote I got to have it renewed is, very, probably 2 to 3 times the original purchase price. So I've been holding off, putting the money elsewhere. It does turn on, it does still work. I have a number of tapes. You see I put 2 out there. They're still sealed, they're brand new Denon HD8s. Most of them are older Denon types. There's a DX860 in there now playing in the deck on top. That's the one I purchased used at a local record store that had it. I got a great price on it. Bought it into a local repair shop that's Nakamichi specialist. Just lucky they're nearby. I could drive there. And he overhauled that deck for me. And it's a 2-head. It is the RX-202. I don't know if you can see it in the picture or not. It is the style deck. I don't know if it's the exact one used in the movie 9.5 Weeks. Back in that'd be the 90s or 80s with Mickey Rourke. And the claim to fame with that, it does auto reverse, but the whole mechanism comes out, turns around, and goes back in. And I'm playing a tape now, hopefully going to get to that point during the video. It will just it'll do it for us. I'm kind of just playing it, so it'll do that. The amplifier is on, and that's why there's no music playing, but there is a tape turning in it. This one, after you overhaul it, almost comes back to the old potential of the 582. The 582Z was special because it's the first one to use Dolby C for recording. So I purchased it, like I said, and I never really used pre-recorded tapes. I did all my own recording of albums for the most part. I'd say 99.9%. I can't think of anything else I would have taped. Maybe reel-to-reel, but I didn't have one. Or off the radio, but didn't do that really. And it was just to preserve my albums. I would purchase an album, clean it thoroughly, and then record it, and then hopefully never play it again potentially, because it meant to have a tape. I'd say it would capture 90 to 95% of the original album quality. I'm interested, now that I have the DS Audio cartridge and the new Riga turntable, if I make a tape, if I get the 582Z fixed, that's a superior deck. It's a 3-head versus a 2-head. They both use Dolby C, but I think the 582Z is just a superior deck in overall quality of sound recording. How close it would come, because that would be interesting to see this tape hold up. Now the tape is playing, obviously you can't hear it. That's probably was recorded in the mid to early 80s, and it works fine. I have probably 200 to 300 cassettes, all Denons. Maybe there's some dropout. I've not heard any dropouts in the music. And they're all taped from, let's say, 1980 to 1990. It's just an easy way to put it, maybe 95. And during that time, I was purchasing CDs as well. But, we still had tapes. You still use them as a convenience thing. Used to use them in your car, believe it or not. Although I did not use these Denons in the car because the excessive heat and light can damage the tape. So anyway, what else would I really say? They've been in high value cassettes. They still work 40 years later. Really nothing done except for the overhaul of the one on top. And that was needed. It wouldn't turn or anything. It needed new belts and everything. Like I said, the 582Z, I never had any maintenance done in 40 years, and it still runs. It's maybe 70-80% of its old potential. So no sense in damaging it and trying to push it and use it. Might as well get it overhauled eventually, greased, and new belts or whatever else you can do to those things. So I just want to bring that up. So these are the two tape decks I have. And what I'll do is probably have them both in the system just to have it, and then once I get the 582Z overhauled, if that's even happens in the next few years, to be honest, I'll start using it again. Maybe do some taping, maybe demo some stuff. I don't know how I would really come across in a demo. Just my own, I guess, opinion on how it sounds. A CD or streaming versus a tape versus an LP, that kind of thing. I would think, from what I've heard recently, LPs still dominate. If you have an audiophile LP, a decent cartridge and turntable, it does better than streaming by far. If you have a really high-end DAC, you might get a better sound quality out of your CDs. It's all up to the presentation, the system itself, and the speakers. Everything matters. But for me, for a source, I think LPs still win out. We're going to look into a new CD player maybe later this year to see if I can get something up to a vinyl quality of sound. That's all I'm going to do there. Like I said, if I can do that, and I get the 582Z, overhauled, I might do some taping to do some comparisons of sound quality. I don't have a reel-to-reel. I never owned one. That would probably be my ultimate test to say, can I capture the dynamics and the clarity and the musicality if the CD is that good. I also added, they're really not in the picture here, they are hooked up and connected, a pair of speaker cables, so SKW hi-fi cable. I saw some reviews of these online. They're on Amazon, so it's SKW hi-fi cable. They're copper, they're almost pure copper. And they weren't overly priced. I put them in, I got them Amazon Prime Day, like last week. And they came pretty quickly and no issues, and I have them hooked up. So I want to burn them in for a couple weeks. So like I said, I have the NOLA Contender S3s. So once these cables settle in, I'm going to do a review of the NOLAs. I didn't have a quality, I just had like monster cable that I bought, like probably with this tape deck, for all I remember. And so it really was not up to its potential. I'll let these settle in, and then I'll do some stuff about the NOLAs and why I like them and why I purchased them and things like that. But anyway, I just wanted to get this in just to show you. Here's the two tape decks I have. I'm keeping them. Unfortunately, I think we're going to not get to the part where it turns over, which is cool to see. But I mean, if you watch this 9.5 weeks, you'll see it in that movie. It's 10 seconds or 5 seconds, but it's just the mechanism comes out, spins around, and turns the tape around, goes back in. There is a cover that's supposed to be on it, but one of my children lost the cover. I will replace it. It really is just for dust. It has no other really function, but it's nice to have. It was there originally, and it makes the deck look cleaner and nicer, of course, that you have that. Again, I only use Denon tapes. I don't believe I have any Maxells or anything else. I might have, and then I would have used those in the car. Just because they were cheaper and easier to replace. I looked at the Denons as the higher quality at the time. This is just my perspective. I really never tried to figure out which one's better or not. But anyway, just wanted to give a quick update on that. So it's both a Nakamichi. Again, the one on the bottom, the larger one's a 582Z, purchased probably in 1981, new. And then the RX-202 is purchased later. It's a 2-head deck. They both use Dolby C. I would think the 582Z is superior at recording because it's a 3-head. And I purchased the RX-202 used, probably 10 years ago now, from a local record store. They just had it on the shelf, so we sold it to them, and they were just kind of getting rid of it. So anyway, they all function, they all work great. The tapes all still are fine. I've never ever used a pre-recorded tape that I know of in these decks. They're pretty harsh on the heads. They weren't at the top level formulations or anything. They're kind of slammed out real quick to get them done. So if you use those a lot, you'll damage your heads and it'll need to be cleaned. So another thing on the 582Z, it's probably really hard to see, but near those dials to the right, those 3 large dials, to their left and above, there's all these little slots, and you can set the azimuth and bias with screwdrivers. Same as where the tape goes in underneath there, you set those as well. And you can bias the deck yourself, set the azimuth yourself with test tones, and realign it and set it all up to get it recording cleanly. That's what I mean. The RX-202 does not have those features. So it's kind of, he did it when he overhauled it, he probably set it up and aligned it and did the biasing and locked it in. but that over time, of course, will change, and you have no way to reset it that I've ever been able to do. And that's another advantage of the 582Z. Every few months, if you want, you run the test tones, get your screwdriver out, and reset them. It just uses the VU meters. It's pretty easy to do. So anyway, all right. So that's that. Thank you for watching. I'll be back hopefully in a week or two with the NOLAs after the speaker cables kind of settle in. I am going to get them off the ground. They're just laying on the ground now. Again, you can't see them. And from what I've heard, I'm not into all that stuff. I never really had been. But I'm going to start kind of getting the cables off the ground, using power cords that are better and things like that to see if they make a difference. I probably won't go too crazy on price, but I'll get stuff that's appropriate. All right, so hopefully everybody's having a good summer, and I'll talk to you in a few weeks. Bye.